What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great weekend, a fantastic Sunday. But we're here to talk some birds, and we've got ourselves the finalized coaching staff for the 2024 season for the Philadelphia Eagles. So we know Nick Sirianni's back, however you feel about that. Excited, 3 years in a row, making it to the playoffs, making it to a Super Bowl. Let's go win one, baby. But he's here, and he's got a lot of new pieces under him. So we're going to get to know the new coaches, who is returning, who's got new titles, all of that stuff. So we'll take a look here. We'll break it down. Love to hear your thoughts down below, and appreciate you all hitting that like button, subscribing, everything you're doing to support the channel. But let's jump right into this. And look, man, this team obviously fell apart at the end of last season. Did not like that at all. Talked about the young coordinators, and sometimes you like to give guys time and allow them to develop their game and their coaching and all that great stuff. So for players and coaches, sometimes it takes time. But this team right now, the way it's built, the Eagles want to win. Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman putting things together for Nick Sirianni. So look, he had to bring in new pieces, and we're going to take a look at all of them. But we know old Nick is back, and I'm a fan of Nick Sirianni, not a fan of how things fell apart at the end of the year. You've heard the, media trying to, Big Dom is actually the head coach, and you just see all the whining already. Who gives a damn what they think? Let's go. Nick Sirianni, dude, we know how well he did the first 3 years. Obviously, end of last season sucked, but get back to what you're doing. Allow these coordinators to do their thing, and we'll talk about them here shortly. But you've got Tyler Yelk, who is returning for his second season, but he's got a new title. He was assistant to the head coach, not assistant to the regional manager. Now he's head coach of quality control there. All right. Yeah, dude, I just find that to be funny. I don't know exactly. He's in charge of the quality control, so we'll call it that, but I just found that funny. Anyways, Ted Rath, Vice President of Player Performance. This will be his third season doing that. And then you've got Fernando Noriega here in his third season as head strength and conditioning coach. Apparently, I can't spell strength, switching those letters at the end there. Now, we know those guys, so nothing really changing there. It's the pieces that, the coordinators that are very important, and they brought some guys with them. Not so much on offense. We got a lot of pieces that were retained, some new titles there. But on the offensive side of the ball, we know that we brought ourselves in a new offensive coordinator here with Kellen Moore. And I think that I'm pretty excited about it. We talked about all of the things he is going to add to this offense. And, he brought Neusmeyer with him. Valero is with him. But the rest of the guys have been pretty much with the Eagles. You talk about Jeff Effin Stoutland, baby, back for his 12th season, offensive line coach, run game coordinator. Then you've got the running backs coach, assistant head coach there, Jamal Singleton, in his fourth season. And obviously this is Sirianni's fourth season, so those guys have been together. Then you've got Paganetti, who has been here. Actually, this will be his 10th season, although his title did change. He's the run game specialist, and now assistant on the offensive line. He was an assistant to the tight ends. Now, Patullo, he's also in his fourth season there with Sirianni, the associate head coach and pass game coordinator. So we figured that probably wouldn't change. Tight ends coach is still Jason Michael in his fourth season. Now, Moorhead has been here actually a year before Sirianni. So Moorhead actually was retained. So this will be his fifth season with the Eagles. Then you talk about Neusmeyer. He came here. This is his first season with Kellen Moore there. And then the same goes for offensive assistant Kyle Valero there. Eric Dickerson, offensive quality control. So he's working under their, head coach of quality control, Tyler Yelk. But you've got Dickerson here for his fourth season. So look, to me, I like this offensive staff. I didn't think, you had to change too much. You just had to change some key pieces like Kellen Moore. So talk about the creativity. We talk about what he brings in. Clearly, he hasn't been coaching for the longest time. I remember watching the dude. So, playing the game, but that he was with the Cowboys. That rubbed some people the wrong way. Obviously didn't have a great season there with the Chargers, but we know that this dude's going to bring a lot of the things that we talked about running the ball. Some, just play calling, the schemes under center, some short intermediate throws, things that we talked about, not just running screens every play and RPO out of the shotgun. I think that we'll see a lot more creativity, a lot more things that I'm very excited about. And, bringing Neusmeyer with, we talk about his extensive career, somebody that Kellen Moore has brought with him. So he was there on the Cowboys with him and also the Chargers. But you can see this dude has been doing this for a very, very long time. And there are breakdowns of these coaches. If you want to go see the Doug Neusmeyer video broken down a little bit more, go check that bad boy out. But I think that he's done some great work. And look, Herbert, obviously, a little struggles there last year, but talk about Dak Prescott. You just talk about, what this dude has done in the college ranks. I think that these guys, Kellen Moore and Doug Neusmeyer, they're going to do some work with Patullo, the rest of the staff, really help out Hurts and this offense. And, you talk about Kyle Valero. He was most recently there on the Cowboys in 2022 with Kellen Moore there, but he's been doing his things at Florida State, then Detroit Lions. Then he was with the Cowboys for a little while there, about 10 years. So, look, I know that's going to rub some people the wrong way, and I hate the Cowboys with all my heart. Do not fear. But this is coaching. This is the game. I don't really care, who they played for or coach for as long as they bring their best. So Cavallero as an offensive assistant. So 3 new guys there on offense. The rest were retained, some of them with some new titles, as I mentioned there. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, this is where you see a little bit more change and obviously a new defensive coordinator, the guy that, I love his system, and we've tried to run variations of it for the last 3 years, and Gannon did well in that second year especially. Desai looked well at times, just got a job with the Rams. So not as defensive coordinator, but he's an assistant on defense. But either way, we played them this year. Vic Fangio, he's the guy that I've been looking for. We talk about all that creativity. Go check out that video, and I'll be updating that video once we, sign some free agents, do the draft. We'll talk about what it looks like, because within that, I give you the schemes, the structures. I show you what it looks like, what we've got, where the holes are. Oh, baby, I'm excited. But let's look at the defensive staff here. And Vic Fangio, obviously bringing a lot of his guys with. So pretty pumped up here. I don't know about you guys, but Fangio brings Christian Parker with him. And this is a guy he worked at, with the Broncos stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. But a bunch of new coaches, Parker, Hurt, and King, Anderson, Casper. And the only guys that are retained here were Jeremiah Washburn, who is actually in his 6th season, and he's the edge rushers coach. He's getting those guys that I don't know why the media gets so twisted about, but defensive end, outside linebacker, they're the edge rushers in a multiple scheme defense. This is your Hassan Reddick, your Josh Sweat, your Nolan Smith, hopefully Brandon Graham coming back. But those are your edge rushers that could be defensive ends, outside linebackers. People try to label them as one or the other. They can be any, man. This is a multiple scheme defense, but he'll be, coaching up the guys outside. You have an inside linebackers coach who is Bobby King, and you have an inside defensive line guy who is Clint Hurt. So that they're breaking things down. You got cornerbacks and safeties coach, and obviously Christian Parker is like the head of that. So you got guys under him, guys under Clint Hurt as the senior defensive assistant. But Ronell Williams returns, and this will be his 2nd season. He actually was the Nichols coach, if you remember, last year, but now he has been turned into the assistant linebackers coach and defensive quality control. And then the defensive quality control coach, Tyler Scudder, is back for his 4th season, but he was actually an assistant linebackers coach last year. So Ronell Williams takes his job. They're both defensive quality control guys now, so whatever, but you get it. Now, let's take a look. And again, these guys all have individual videos, and they're all listed under the playlist, the 2024 coaching. So go check that stuff out if you want, but we'll try to breeze through this. Vic Fangio, you know exactly how I feel. Somebody that got to learn from some of the effing greats here, man. And he's a great himself. But we talk about, my love for Rex Ryan and what he did with the Ravens there, Vic Fangio, what he was able to learn, and, the people under Fangio and just the impact he's had on the game. You talk about guys like Shanahan, McVay. They talk about the defense they hate the most, and that's Fangio's. And we talk about multiple scheme each week, being able to match up against teams, destroy their weaknesses, play well against their strengths, and, just bend, don't break, obviously, they talk about. But this is much more complicated than that. Go check out the video. I'll post it down below in the comments. But, man, I'm excited for Vic Fangio and the people he brought with him. That being, one of these guys, Christian Parker. He was interviewed, I believe, for the Patriots and Packers, I want to say, as defensive coordinator. So an up-and-coming name here in the NFL, Christian Parker. You know the work that he has done with Patrick Surtain the second. As soon as we signed him, everybody talked about trading for him. I get it. Love the dude. And, you see the work he's done with Justin Simmons, but he obviously did some work with Vic Fangio there in the Broncos, and familiarity there is the name of the game. But I like this kid a lot. He's very, very big name, and I think that he will be a defensive coordinator sooner rather than later. But happy to have him here, and he'll be running the show here for us, with the defensive backs and the passing game coordinator for the defense. So pretty pumped up. He'll be very close with Vic Fangio, but, sticking into the secondary, we talked about Casper here. I think that, that's fantastic to have him there. I really think that he's going to be able to, he came back. We talked about having him last year and or the year before. And when he left, I was kind of bummed out because this dude has an executive, resume as well. He was player personnel and development assistant back with the Browns, and, just a smart young man. And we talk about, just when he left, I thought he had a bright future. So happy that he's back here. He was defensive quality control with us, but then he went to be the safeties coach with Vic Fangio there in Miami. Now he comes back to the Eagles with Vic Fangio as our safeties coach. So pumped up there. And then you talk about Roy Anderson, who, for me, this is a guy where, he's going to help out the corners. He's familiar with Clint Hurt, who is familiar with the Vic Fangio tree. So he's a Clint Hurt guy. These guys can be familiar with each other, but he is familiar with Fangio back with the Ravens way back when. And dude, with the Bears, Vic Fangio, Roy Anderson. So it's not just, these guys are all connected in different ways. So obviously Fangio is going to be bringing in guys, but there is one dude that actually isn't. And we talked about it, so there's your cornerbacks coach. That is the secondary. So Casper and Anderson under Parker there. And now into the linebackers, we talked about Washburn being the outside linebackers. Those are edge rushers, defensive ends. They're not the same thing as an off-ball stack linebacker. That's who Bobby King will be getting, Nakobe Dean ready. Now, this guy is actually not familiar with Vic Fangio or any of these guys, but he did work with Nick Sirianni there with the Chargers. So some familiarity there with Bobby King. But we got to do some work. Linebackers, very important. Fangio obviously liked this guy if he brought him onto his staff. So all about it, baby. And I'm loving this defensive staff here. And I think that, offense and defense, very pumped up. But we do not leave out anyone in these parts. So let's take a look at the special teams here. And Michael Clay just got his extension. We talked about that a week or so ago. And, I was very excited about that. A lot of people called for his head last year, but I thought that given what was going on, all of the things that, I thought you give him another year, give Covey a shot, give all these guys. And my Lord, we were one of the best units. And now you've got guys like Panunzio coming back for his 6th season. So he was here before any of these guys because this is Clay's 4th season. And he has Tyler Brown with him for his 4th season as his special teams assistant. So there is your entire coaching staff for your 2024 Philadelphia Eagles. But I would love to hear your thoughts down below. Maybe you've got some more information on one of these guys, some thoughts on somebody, whatever it may be. I would love to hear it. Appreciate you guys taking the time. Appreciate you hitting the like button, subscribing. Hope you're all having a great weekend. Hoping by tomorrow I'm dropping that offensive line video. Then we're getting into the free agents on defense, baby. We'll get the special teams as well. Don't worry. But we'll get it all covered. Getting you ready for free agency coming up March 15th. But go check out some of the other ones. We got quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end out. And I just put an update to the cast space with that going up. So get excited, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of ammo for this offseason, but we know the coaching staff now. Give us a better idea of what they're going to be looking for on offense and defense, on special teams as well. So we'll be talking about it all offseason, all damn sicko season, baby. So looking forward to talking to you guys. Again, have yourselves a great Sunday, great rest of your weekend. Hope to see, if anything happens later, I'll jump on live. But if not, be back tomorrow, hopefully. Until then, I'm Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there, and as always, go Birds!